So this record store has been opened in some capacity since September 2012. We're coming up this September will be the 5-year anniversary. And when we first opened, we were just up in this little attic space, and we were only open 3 days a week. It was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and it has evolved over the years to become this multi-level, everyday store. Well, firstly, they've been making them for so long. They've been making them longer than, my grandparents have been alive. And it's just like this. It's a recorded history in the same way you have books that have been written for millennia. You have these records that, for literally centuries, have been made. So it's recorded history of the world. So even if you're not into records necessarily, you're gonna come into records in different places, whether it be just like some clothing shop you're in or like a box on the side of the road. So first of all, it's just like this access thing, and then second of all, you got an engineering argument of just like the high and low end of a full sound file on a record. It's just something that the digital world hasn't surpassed yet, and then also like just the physical appeal of something in your hands, but also just like absorbing that one thing instead of staring at a database of music and not knowing what to listen to. Just like kind of putting your time and energy into something, one thing at a time, and that's always been a thing that like I feel like is just like a meditation on life, just like slowing down and focusing on one thing at a time, because our minds are really capable of processing as much as is thrown at us on a daily basis. It's really a romantic thing. At this point, it's something I've been doing for most of my life. But there's this whole process to like. It's hard for me to wake up in the morning, but like coming here to open the record store, that's like one of the things that gets me up in the morning. Like I'm gonna go up there and figure out. I'm going to find an album I haven't listened to or something I really love and put it on, and that's like how I'm going to start my day. But I like the social aspect of it. Playing records in here, playing records at the bar, playing records at my house or at friends' houses, it's always like just this nice like point of conversation. Like, oh my god, you listen to this record, like let me play it for you. And that's just like something I feel like I've been doing for my whole life. So I guess my favorite thing would be the social aspect of it. But it's like therapy to me too. Yeah. Record Store Day is this funny holiday. I mean, technically it's a retail holiday. It was started 10 years ago at a time when record stores really stopped opening and started closing a lot. You now see similar things with bookstores, and like the Unbound Book Festival, and you see similar things, but initially it was just this idea of like, oh, go support these like failing and flailing record stores, but then the industry kind of took note, and then you saw all these labels and places all of a sudden releasing things on this day, and it always kind of coincides with 420. You could make arguments that like records, music, all these things kind of like feed into a counterculture, but we just kind of treat it like, let's just have a big party, let's have bands and our friends play on the roof, and let's have like food all day, and like just do like crazy stuff all day, and we kind of fly by the seat of our pants. We are getting some of those releases. I mean, we're probably getting close to 60 things that come out tomorrow. But for us, it's more of just like, oh, let's like all have fun in the record store for a day and just treat it like a party, rather than it being just like buy something, which it feels dirty. Yeah.
Losing blood, faint at heart, with its spirit crushed, 'cause it knows
can't, I can't really explain for everyone else, but I don't know, buying and supporting music and artists is definitely something that I know people like doing. Like, people will be streaming, the new Kendrick album, but they'll be like, I really want to own this, and I really want to, like, support the artists, and, buying music is a way of doing that, but it's also, like, I don't know, it's just, like, my record collection is something I, like, as much as I don't want to be, like, a materialist, like, it's something I really take pride in, and, like, something I love doing, collecting records, doing radio shows, playing music for people, swapping and trading albums has been a hobby of mine my whole life. But I like to think of this shop too as just like another reason for people to leave their house. Like, I feel in the digital age, we're getting to the point where there's almost no reason to leave the house anymore. Like, shows are being replaced by YouTube, and like you can buy groceries on Amazon. It's like people are working from home on their computers, and it's just like I feel like this shop should just be like a vital part of a community, and our downtown community. We feel like this building is like a cultural hub and another reason to just like for people to come downtown. And it's cool, we see people like who would never stop in Columbia, who are just like passing through on one of the highways, and they'll come down here and they'll be like, oh, I found your shop online and we decided to come downtown, and then they come to downtown Columbia and they're like, this town looks and seems really cool, and they just like never would have come here otherwise. So there's a certain feel to you just want it to be a magnet, or like a social magnet, but it's also a record store. So like on a corporate level, like would never happen. Having bands on the roof is like a major, like, when people start talking about insurance and like what could go wrong, like no one in their right mind would ever let a bunch of strangers on the roof to play music. But also just like having people like in the store willy-nilly, just like we set people loose up here and don't even really pay attention to what they're doing. We don't have like the crazy profit motive. Of course, we got to cover our bases on rent and bills and all that, but for us this is just like a lot of fun, even though it's become a lot more serious than it ever was. We don't have anyone above us telling us like, you need to sell this many things and you need to carry these things and play these things at this time, which is something that like almost all like chain and corporate record stores have to do. Well, this would be I gotta think about this. This would technically be our 4th year participating, and it's kind of the same every year. We get specialty food from all over. Whether it be like the Uprise Bakery making pizza, like hand tossed pizza, which they never do, and people like they make us cakes and pies, and we've gotten like CJ's wings in the past, and when the donut shops opened, we had like both Strange and Harold's Donuts. It just felt like this, kind of like bringing together of the food world. Back in the day, Lonnie Ray's Barbecue, which used to be our favorite barbecue place, it was in Harrisburg. It closed, but it's just like a crazy weird party, and we just kind of like figure it out as we go. But yeah, it evolves a little every year. The bands on the roof has always been a thing we've done.
Do you think there will always be an interest in records?
I think it'd be naive of me to say like absolutely yes there will be, but the recent events with just people, this weird like this trend is taking hold on a mass scale. That points towards almost like it's like counter progress. Like, as much as we have everything online, people are buying more records. But they're continuing to make them. I feel like as long as they'll continue to make them, people will be buying them. And as long as people like me and Taylor like have the drive and like the notion and love for music and like these eclectic shops, like there are other people that have opened shops that have borrowed things from our model, just even on a regional scale. You have like 10 record stores in St. Louis now, and I feel like 10 years ago there were 3. Same with Kansas City. So, I mean, for now, for the not too distant future, I think it'll be something that continues to be at least of semi-interest. And there's always going to be like cheap, old, used records around too. So it's like an easy hobby to get into. As soon as you have a player, it's pretty easy to find records. As long as you have the interest, as long as people are interested in music, I think records will be around. Yeah.
Losing blood, faint at heart, with its spirit crushed. 'Cause